Hello friend, how are you on this 10th of September? Holy cow, September 10th already. I'm Pat Sloan. This is my daily video where I have a daily topic and some Q&A today, telling you about a few other things I have coming up, going on, and I have got crazy friends. Look at this. Look at this, what came in the mail. There's actually two of them. I just got the one on. They're from my friend Jenny. Jenny, who does some videos and has like a little store out in Missoula. No, where's Hamilton? Yes. I should remember where her shop is, right? Little place out there in Missouri, Hamilton, Missouri. Little Miss Jenny Doan, my buddy. She sent me this crazy sleeve to put over my gloves because I can't really decorate the gloves. They're stretchy and it would irritate my skin to sew through them, and they're not a cast, so I can't, decoupage them or something like you would a cast. So Jenny sent me a tattoo sleeve. So fun. You gotta have fun friends. If you don't have fun friends, go and find some because they are amazing. All right, so today we're going to revisit by checking in to see if you have done anything on what item did you bring back. We talked about bringing back something into your life, into what you do, into your routine that is something you used to do and you loved, but you stopped. For whatever reason, you stopped doing it. So I wanted you to think this was back. Did I write down what day it was? It was back, oh yeah, August, I have a note here, August 25th. So it was a little, a couple weeks ago. I had you think about what that was that you wanted to bring back, and now you can tell me if you've done it. If you haven't done it, then why not? Let's make it today. Let's make today the first day you do that. Bringing back something you love to do. I am bringing back two things. One is more cooking, which unfortunately I can't do a lot yet because I'm not clear to use knives. I'm not that, I don't have a lot of strength to hold things. So, but when I do, I'm looking at a lot of recipes and watching a lot of YouTube videos. But I'm also bringing back reading. So I've been sort of rebooting a few books, going back to some books that I hadn't finished. They're nonfiction, so I can kind of pick them up. So I'm bringing that back. So that is the bringing back part of today. Yes. So during my cleanup, my mission organization, I found this quilt top, which I had kind of forgotten that I did. It was just the center part. It is from the Jolly Bar Book 2. Before we did the charming, was it in here? We did the charming. Yeah, we did the charming from here, the charming sampler, where we use blocks from this. My brain, I've lost it. Somebody find it, send it back. So we did the sampler, and we had to have a little delay in the sampler. So those of us who already had our book, because people couldn't get their books because there was a lot of delay in the shipping. Okay, so I sewed this up over a couple days, and then I folded it up, and I think I broke my wrists. And so then I totally forgot that it even existed. Somebody even wrote and asked me about it, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I didn't have any brain cells yet. And then I found it, and I'm like, okay, not only did I find it, but I'd already picked inner border, and I'd already bought some of the same fabric for some sashing. For a wider border. So I have the two. So I put the two borders on last night. It actually happens to be the quilt that's on the front of the book. It actually happens to be the same fabric line. Who knew? I just happened to have that, and I thought we were doing that like in end of June maybe. So it would have been beginning of June, end of May. So I wanted something that feels Americana, and I happened to have a Jolly Bar of that line. So there we go. It was kind of weird to all of a sudden just find that and go, wow, I don't even remember really doing it. But I'm sure that, I hope I'm not the only one that happens to. Tell me I'm not. Tell me you've had that before. You've made something, folded up, put it away, and found it months later. That's like, ah. Okay, so Spool Blocks. I I'm working on them, but I seem to have somehow, I lost track, but I have a bunch. I have a bunch made. So today's is this one because I decided that I would get out the umbrella fabric. I love this fabric. I love the graphics of it. I love that it's sort of just mostly blue and white. So this is a spool. And I have this whole, here's what the pattern looks like for the spool blocks. Now I do need to make some of the empty ones. And then I need to sew some rows. So I'm thinking here, let's look at this. Let's look down here. So I'm thinking like this medium blue and then the peach and the red, something like that. And then maybe add another medium blue. Let's see, can you see all of that? I don't have you scooted in here. Maybe, there we go, there we go. So something along this line. There's 5 blocks across. And if I do maybe 3 spools across here, I don't want to do as many spools. I would have 1 less row and I think 3 empty spools. So like the first row I would need 5 blocks. So maybe I would do, you know, the strawberry. So I could do the first row and then get the second row because this is the 10th. So I should have 2 rows done. Oh, here's yeah. So, or I could put this guy up there. Something like that. All right. So that looks like a plan, right? So for the first row. And then I'll have to get the second row done. But I have to get them sewing because it is going to start getting late. You know how that is. If you don't start doing it, then all of a sudden it's just been this long time and you are behind. That's why I like having the layouts early. Speaking of that, I will have the next sew along stuff very soon. I'm getting it written, I'm getting it edited for the Block Wednesday, which will be Cozy Things, and that will be coming up real soon, the announcement of it, so you can see what we're going to be doing. And that'll be the that'll wrap up this year's Wednesday sew-alongs, and they'll start again next year. Okay, I am feeling somewhat fallish. Fall is in the air. You know, it gets a little crisp here in the evening, just a little tiny bit, and we are looking at getting a fire pit for our yard, like a little tiny one that's sort of like looks like a coffee table. They're real small, so that we can just have something cozy to sit outside in the more crisp evenings. So it made me think of fall, and so I have some fall fabric things to show you. Yes, they are so cute. You know my friend Sandy Gervais, she's a designer and she's been doing fabric forever. I think she must have done 800 lines of fabric over the years. Just incredible. Well, she has this adorable fall line out. She's now with Riley Blake, and so I want to show you her fall. I have to quilt this. Whoops, it's upside down. I have to quilt this as soon as I am able, even if it's just wavy lines. As soon as I can base the darn thing, I'm quilting it. Okay, let me hold it up. I'll be behind it. It says, give thanks. Look in the little owl. Look at the owl. Look at the little acorns and those cute, cute flowers. This is quintessential Sandy Gervais. It is so amazing. And if you do cross stitch, you probably know her sister Brenda Gervais. I think it's Brenda. Whoops, I think it's her sister-in-law. I just dropped it on the floor. Oh well. And here's the fabric line. So come down here. There are some patterns I want to show you too. Oh, first let me show you before we do that. Here is the pattern she has to use the panel. So I will link you all up to this down below because I don't know. This has got these cute leaves, and it turns out, what size is this when it's done? 64 by 72. So I'm probably not going to do this to my panel just because I don't have, you know, I need to do things a little bit simpler right now. So I might actually do this border or something similar just around the panel. But here is the fabric, which is so Sandy. I just love it. It's got the pumpkins, and then, you know, there's some repeat ones, which is pretty nice. So, you know, the leaves, and then she's got this great print here. Look at the gold with the acorns. These are the sweetest acorns ever. My camera seems to be too close to me. I'm going to talk to Mr. Greg. I don't know why that is. So I love that gold, and she's got the pumpkin color, the greens on it. Look at the plaids. Awesome plaids. And then I love this kind of a rust color, like a little more ready to the pumpkin color. And then she's got this great green. This green is one of my favorite shades. And then a few pieces of brown go in the line. So that is the fabric line. But she has another pattern that's called Casual Friday. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look how cute this is. So from one layer cake, it says, plus some other fabric, you can get all of these three. You can get the table runner, the little small quilt, and then the bigger wall hanging with the ladies. I have to look at the front there. I just love, love, love this. So cute. These are, I'll link you down below to these. If you're looking for something a little more regular blocks side by side, which a lot of people love to do, they love the symmetry. These are two of my favorites, the Halloween Roses by my friend Joanna Figueroa, and then her Halloween Blooms, which is like a Rolling Stone kind of block. So these two, but this is my favorite one. But I love this one because it's pretty fast to do. But they're just both super cool. So there are some fall projects if you want to do some. Oh, I can scoot back a little bit. So I'm gonna look up my nose. That like, sorry about that. That's okay. I had a Q&A. First, Rita wanted to know, do I pre-wash my fabric? Why or why not? So I pre-wash. Let's see, the answer that would make everybody's life the easiest as far as final quilt that you wash would, yes, pre-wash all your fabrics. If you pre-wash all your fabrics, you have no surprises. But that's a bit tedious. It takes a lot of time, particularly if you buy a lot of fabric, then you're having to spend a lot of time washing it when you could be sewing it. Most quilt fabric is really steadfast. You know, it's not going to really bleed, but reds, blacks, dark blue, really dark green, those ones I would always wash myself before I'm going to put it into a quilt that's going to be washed a lot. You know, because I'm a business, I do a lot of quilts that don't really get washed. They're made for production, and they're really just, yes, the purpose of them, and then they go on my storage shelf. So I generally don't wash for those. You also, it'd be it's really hard to wash a pre-cut. So that's why fabrics are so much better now, that you can, pretty much get away with, not washing most of it. Use die catchers when you do your washing. So there you go. That, but the safest way, if you wash all your quilts and you don't buy tons of fabric, so it's not going to take that much time, that's the safest, is to wash everything as it comes in, put it on the shelf, it's done. But it's a little bit time consuming. Or wash it just before you start. Make sure you have the time to wash and dry it before you start cutting it up. I know. We're not that patient. I'm not that patient. I'm like, okay, I want to start cutting now. I don't want to go wash this. All right. The other question I had is sort of like a thought. People often say to me, "Oh, I'm self-taught." Well, I think like all of us, to some extent, are self-taught. You may have taken a class, you may have taken other classes on specific things, but most of us are learning by reading, watching, and doing. And even if you took a class 15 years ago to learn, when you took that class, you probably didn't absorb even 1/5 of the class. It was a lot of information, and so you just got what you could do, and then you learn more later as you go along. So we're all self-taught, and that's great. It's awesome. It's how most of us learn everything, is by asking and reading and watching and then doing. So it's a wonderful thing to be self-taught. You should never use it as something that isn't more than wonderful. Okay? All right. It's my pep talk for today. I'm Pat Sloan, in case you forgot that in the beginning. All right. Got my sleeve on. There's actually 2 of these. I don't know if I could wear 2 of them at once. They're a little bit tight, that's why. They're a little bit tight on the upper arm here, but I just had to wear it for the video today. Thank you, Jenny. All right, I love you, my friend. Thank you for using all my links. They're down below, and I will see you online.